Only one map win.
And that's how much Noah knows about Brazil, apparently.
Pretty much, yeah. They're cool.
They're cool. That's your other fact.
They're cool, obviously. These guys are pretty cool. I think we're going to see some of them in the Overwatch League next year.
I think it's definitely a possibility.
Yeah.
Liko starting out in the Junkrat. Time to hide some traps here around the start. We go back and take a listen here to the footsteps.
Oh.
And throw down a trap in a mine. Not the most creative placement this time, but doesn't have to be. Will be pretty standard here on the defense from Brazil. Not looking like they're going to be pulling any special tricks. Instead, going back to the Roadhog Orisa, which is just ridiculously effective in these single choke situations.
All right. Well, nice job by Austria to not have somebody step in it anyway. I know in my ranked games, I always shout, hey, there's a Junkrat trap right outside the door, and people still step in it.
It's just free healing, man, if you don't die.
Yeah, but then, like, sometimes if one of your 200 HP guys steps in it, then they instantly die of the concussion mine. Whoa, speaking of which, instant death as Austria jumps onto that high ground and just decimates Brazil.
That was a really good dive from Austria.
That was tight. Well, it's like we said going into this one. Austria, they've got the talent. You've just got a bunch of people on this team that, maybe haven't had as much experience. And once you get that coordination tightened up, things like that can happen.
Look at that. Brazil lost that fight so quickly as well, and they're going to be swapping some heroes around as a result, including both of their DPS and their main tank. They've got no ult charge. Austria has a massive snowball opportunity right now with everybody except for Mini-Me up above 50% on that ult charge.
Well, either way, they've got an enormous amount of time to take B, and Liko already takes out Mr. Dragonlaw, so Australia,
never mind, it's over.
Or Austria rather, stymied a bit there as they go into point B. What are you laughing at?
No, I'm laughing with you.
Oh, appreciate your years of laughing with me.
It is confusing, though, because of the colors of the Brazilian team are the ones that we used for Australia last year for the Overwatch World Cup. That is green and gold.
Yeah. Also the colors of my beloved Green Bay Packers. Throw that in there. Austria trying to take the high ground on the side now. Making some swaps. Mr. Dragonlaw on the Soldier 76, which is kind of a classic DPS hero to use on point B Hanamura, but not something that's been in the meta for a while. Trying to keep everybody alive right now on the high ground. As Brazil figures out what to do about this. They've got a Dragon Blade. Here it comes. That's going to be the answer. Sleep Dart attempted, but it missed. Liko did take out Steven before dropping to Watt 7's aggression. Meanwhile, Dudu does take down the Ana. Eclipse out of commission, and Brazil kind of scattered a little bit, but not enough to give up any time on that point.
Yeah, that was good patience by Brazil. They waited for Eclipse to use the Biotic Grenade. They waited for the healing station from the Soldier 76 to go down. They waited for the bubble to be on cooldown, and that's when they attacked. Didn't get the most value out of the Blade, but they still win the fight.
I mean, the plan is for your team to take control of the point and move the fight there while your Soldier stays on the high ground and just nano visors everybody, right? So that's what they're going to be trying to set up here.
Here we go, Nano boost onto Liko.
Yeah, gonna try to go in there again. He did just use his blade, but a Genji with Nano is still a deadly thing to worry about. Nobody from Australia going down yet, though.
Probably wanted to make that decision just to help him get his blade back faster, considering he already has the Primal Rage. They're up on top again, but they're just falling back. They're trying to be disruptive. Alvarado has slept.
Yeah, that's right. Could be a problem. He's gonna go ahead and use that self-destruct, I believe, and he catches Mini-Me. Oh, man. Well, here's the thing, Austria is going to need to make a reset here, but when they come back, if they save their ultimates, which they should, they're going to have 5 ults, and they're going to have that nano boost for the Soldier 76 ult. And that tack visor, if he can use it unopposed on the high ground, can just do a ton of damage.
Yeah, the 6 ult things are really going to be the big difference maker right now. Brazil has to get value out of this blade, probably by getting their trance on the high ground if they can get there with the Zenyatta. If they can, Austria has been transparent in these attacks so far. It's moving through the doorway and go left. Brazil needs to start clogging these choke points or dealing with this in a way, because they can't allow Austria to set up here with 6 ults.
Well, they're going to try to use a rally to do exactly that. They've got the sound barrier too if things get a little bit hairy. Meanwhile, Austria surviving on the high ground, but you need to move the fight to the point, free up that Soldier sightlines.
Oh,
oh, he gets Mini-Me in the back with a pulse bomb before the sound barrier's used, and they're going to go ahead and go for it. There's the attack visor. There's a nano boost for him. He's going to try to chase down kills on the low ground, but he doesn't get anything out of it. And now the blade comes out, a nano boost of his own for Liko, and Brazil cutting apart Austria. if you're Austria, I think now's the time to swap to something else. You've got over 3.5 minutes. You can try a different comp here.
Yeah, I don't think you go with this again, but that was really a play by Neil, dropping the bubble on the high ground, because Mr. Dragon, it was right as he used the tac visor, right as he got nano boosted, and that means he has to drop to low ground, waste a lot of time, and he gets focused down after only one elimination from 2 ultimates. So great patience. Brazil knows exactly what Austria wants to do, and they're countering it well, and Austria's not adjusting.
I don't know about this, man. I think you tried it. It didn't work out. You make a swap. I'm a little bit surprised they're sticking with this. It could work. I mean, again, all you need is a good soldier on the high ground, and the point is basically yours.
That's easier said than done, though, when you have the D.Va and the Winston on the other team. There's a lot of ways to block that, and again, Dudu coming up with a pulse bomb kill.
Yeah, well, you want your soldier to get the nano boost, not the pulse bomb. Dudu gets 2, actually, with that one. Liko with the cleanup.
So great timing.
Yeah, getting those resets, man.
Great timing, peeking around the corner, playing around the self-destruct and getting the kill before the reback. Dudu, once again, second fight in a row, he opens things up with a pulse bomb. Couldn't have been easier. It's going after the supports. Gets the Soldier 76 accidentally, and there are the swaps. I mean, all right, here we go.
When you've got a Brigida on your team like Austria does, there's no business for the Tracer to be coming up and getting easy pulse bombs like that. You got to be aware of that. Liko with the blade, though, coming down onto the Ana. The sound barrier going to protect him a little bit at least, but he's got that nano boost. Ole finishing off Eclipse, though. They got the kill they were looking for. And now, time to duke it out on the point. See who comes out ahead in the brawl. Dragonlaw down. Ole gets another one. There's going to be the self-destruct from Brazil. Catches Mr. Dragonlaw before he can remech. And Neil, with that Primal Rage, manages to finish off Steven. So Austria, again, put basically everything they had into that push, and weren't able to even come out with a tick, though.
They didn't have much, though, because a lot of the hero swaps. So, you know, in a way, they trade the sound barrier for the Dragon Blade and the nano boost and the self-destruct. Isn't the worst thing in the world. You'll notice Ole has just he's been sitting on this trance for a very long time now, waiting for the opportune moment to use it, and his team really hasn't needed it so far, so good patience.
It's a good thing, you know, if you don't need to use it. Here we go. Brazil trying to defend again as Austria, I'm doing it, goes in. That lasted so long. They did make that composition change, though. Going for the 3-3. Dudu may have a bit harder time getting the damage done with the pulse bomb. Throws it in. Yeah, no damage out of that one. Zarya Shield mitigating it pretty well. Now the Transcendence used as Brazil tries to cling to this point here. Lets people be a little bit more aggressive. Not too much. Ole getting chased away by that Coalescence. Just a little bit of health remaining. He has to take a bit of breather.
Oh, stunned!
Gets him with the Fire Strike, and yeah, there's the stun on Liko as he tried to pull out another Dragon Blade. And Austria finally in a good position to claim this point. They had about 7 minutes on the clock, and Brazil held them for about 6 of it. But Austria managed to do it in the end.
Yeah, about 50 seconds remaining for Austria. And a little bit late on the trance there from Ole. He allowed Honorato to get demech'd. Yeah. And then this is the end of it, too. They were already suffering in this fight, very low HP because the trance wasn't there in time. But credit to Steven and Earth Shatter as well. Liko, no chance to use that nano-boosted Dragon Blade, and that seals the point victory for Austria.
I mean, that's the thing. You're running that Brigida, and again, like that is there to counter things like Dragon Blade and Tracers harassing your backline. So I'm a little bit surprised we didn't see like things like that happening a bit earlier on that point.
Yeah, they invested so much into that soldier, and it gets in your head sometimes when you have those 6 ultimates and you're thinking, all right, we can have this big push. But they get there in the end. They get both of the points. They do set the benchmark here for Brazil.
What a credit to Brazil, though, for holding for that long. I mean, under pretty much any other circumstances, that would have been a hold on point B, right? Because you had Austria with about 7 minutes on the clock, and Brazil managed to hold them down to about 52 seconds.
Oh yeah, they ran over Brazil too, and there was a very real scenario where Austria was going to cap both points with 6 minutes remaining. So back from that,
pulled it out of the fire there. That's for sure.
Interesting. So they boosted Eclipse up there using the Symmetra teleporter. That's an unusual strategy. Now, a lot of the Ana strats that we saw in Hanamura were Hanamura on the back low ground because it was hard to dive her back there.
Yeah.
Now we're going to see the Ana high ground strategies, and as Symmetra gets used more, it'll...
No, they're so creepy. I mean cute. I mean, they're cute.
I think they're creepy.
They are a little bit creepy, aren't they? Why doesn't Junkrat shoot those out of his grenade launcher? That's what I'm wondering. Probably because they don't explode. It wouldn't work very well.
You can put explosive in them. I'm sure that sounds like a Junkrat thing to do.
That definitely does. Could not agree more.
All right, so Liko on the flank right now does get found out by Wat7. He's got to get back, has a defense matrix, but that wasn't there long enough to take the conch mine out of the way.
From downtown. You saw that concussion mine coming in too, man. It's just like in slow motion, flying towards you. And you're like, well, this is the end, isn't it?
The defensive matrix just wasn't there quite long enough.
Not quite, no. So Brazil does have to reset. So no really quick take for them like Austria was able to achieve. Going in now, going for the dive, going after the Ana on the high ground, and she's in a lot of trouble. Seems like it'd be easy to dive the Ana there, and guess what it was? Brazil, though, losing a lot of people in doing so. The rest of Austria was able to turn around on them as they dove in.
Yeah, I mean, you can take that, but at the same time, there's a Widowmaker covering the entire ground in front of the point. So you're going to take some shots as you go in. The less mobile members of Brazil also will be taking some shots from Mr. Dragon's Widow. And you can kill that Ana, but you can still lose that fight quite easily thanks to the open sightlines.
All right, enough time bought so that Eclipse got back. A nice shot from Mr. Dragonlaw onto Dudu. That's a 5v6 already. And Alama out of the way as well. Oh, goodbye, Neil. Austria stops that fight before it began. After a set.
Yeah, just a time to reset right now. Everybody pitching themselves over the side of the castle.
Down into the beautiful courtyard.
It is nice down there.
Yeah. Looks like it would be nice anyway. I don't think I would dive. Jump all the way down there.
It's good that everybody got to go see Japan during the cherry blossom blooming, you know?
Yeah, well, the cherry blossoms apparently bloom forever in the future. Which, why not, you know? They're more machine now than cherry blossom. All right, Brazil trying a different approach here.
Now they're going high ground. Yeah, they're going to go high ground this time. I have to wait, though. Finally, the infra sight. Done. Got to walk through those Junkrat. They have the tools.
Yep. It's tough to walk across that bridge when you've got so much Junkrat spam coming in there.
Looked like they were going to be able to make it, but execution not quite up to par. That time, the mine gets eaten by the defensive matrix, but Ole loses his head to Mr. Dragon, and now Wat7 looking for some flashy knockoffs here, dealing with the Zarya on the side. Liko will eventually go down.
Wow. Tough to knock Zarya off the edge, it looks like here. Now Wat's having a lot of trouble. He goes down. Liko survives with like 1 HP. Got like 2 or 3, I think, maybe. Well, not enough to survive a concussion grenade. Concussion mine, rather. Here comes a tire, and it's going to take down Olamau. And Austria again holding. They actually got Honorado's mech with that, too. And so now, under a minute remaining.
I mean, even though Austria won that, actually Wat7 would have won that duel if he didn't charge the Zarya with his gun while they were dueling right there while she was in her bubble, but...
Yeah, I don't know about that. He didn't have his jump cooldown, though, so there wasn't really a whole lot he could do.
He could not shoot her.
Well, I guess so. That's true. It did add a little bit more damage in there. Brazil with a lot of ultimates to try to take this thing, but they lose Dudu again. Mr. Dragonlaw has just, like, had a heat-seeking bullet out for Dudu's head in this match. He's died every single time they've come in. Gets another one onto Liko. Brazil having a lot of trouble going through the door. Finally, the sound barrier comes in. But Wat7 with that primal rage, trying to juggle people in there, zoning them out. Neil drops the Earth Shatter, but doesn't really take anybody with it. Self-destruct catches no one. That's going to be a clean fight for Austria. They lose nobody in that one. And yeah, nice shot. Ooh, nice shot on the Liko, actually. Man, Mr. Dragonlaw has had a great round as Widow.
That's just going to be it. I mean, that last fight there, no one is able to get anywhere remotely close after that respawn. So Austria keeps themselves in the game right now. Full hold on Hanamura against Brazil.
Yeah. You know, we said, remember, going into this map, that Austria has the mental fortitude to kind of come back in a situation like this. And hey, you know, that's a great example of it. They are still alive in this series. Again, they did play that really tight match that they won against Switzerland earlier in the day. It looks like they might be setting us up for another one here against Brazil.
Yeah, it depends, though. Like, that was their map selection. They were dominant on that pick. Brazil looked pretty uncomfortable overall, especially on that attack. They tried several different approaches, never really worked out. It looked like that was a map that Austria really practiced quite a bit. So now we're going to go into Brazil's pick, though, considering they are the loser. And we'll see what they
think. Junkertown?
I mean, I think if I'm them, I played Junkertown really well today. I'm feeling confident on it because I just beat USA. So I think I picked that, if only for the mental edge that it gives you, right?
Sure. And I mean, they performed really well in Junkertown too. Their attack was very, very tight, nearly flawless. I mean, yeah, you could argue that the US team was kind of messing around a little bit there, but you can't do that against a team like Brazil. They certainly made them pay for it. They took that map, and I think it's going to be a great choice for them to choose to finish this series off.
Yeah, although you do have to have some level of concern because you were just so dominated by Mr. Dragon on that Widowmaker and with some open sidelines on Junkertown. I think there is a bit of downside there, but not enough that I would really be overly worried about it.
It's a different situation too, right? Because on Junkertown, you're trying to push that payload, and you can see that will be our 4th map. Whereas on Hanamura, you're trying to just speed boost everybody into a point and then kind of fight on there. And so a lot of times we saw Dudu kind of getting left behind in the Brigido and being easy pickings for Mr. Dragonzal's Widowmaker. I don't think that type of thing is gonna happen on this map as much.
Yeah, you could say Australia on this map now too, Toa, because that's where we are.
Austria.
It's the Austrians in Australia to make it extra confusing.
That's right. We say Australia a lot on the Overwatch League for various reasons. So when Austria pops up once in a while, just trolling us, man.
Hopefully we'll say Austria more in the future.
Sure.
More the merrier in terms of the players we get in the Overwatch League, and a lot of opportunities going to be coming forward for these World Cup players as the contract signing period has begun now for the expansion teams for the Overwatch League.
That's the exciting thing I think about the World Cup right now, is that it's such a good showcase of the rising talent outside of Overwatch League and some of these countries that we don't see as much coming out of their esports scene. And you never know when you're going to find that gem, right? You never know when you're going to find that next Mickey when you're watching the World Cup. So it makes it really exciting to see these players and see these games. And everybody, you know, they're fighting for the pride of their nation, but to a certain extent, you know, you're also kind of fighting for a spot in an Overwatch League team too.
Sure, absolutely. Austria will be going with Mr. Dragon. Back onto the Widowmaker. Steven with the Sombra play. They'll be trying on for a flank right here. Steven's right outside of the doorway, and this time it will be a mix-up from Brazil. They want to play the Bastion with Ole.
Well, they spot the Austrian players up on the roof of the building here. Oh, a nice hook actually onto Watt 7. He's in a lot of trouble. He's down. Ole finishes him off. And now they should be able to get that Bastion to the car without too much trouble here. Dudu just waiting for the hook cooldown. There it is. And there goes Mini-Me. That's 2 great hooks for Dudu already on the Roadhog.
Liko winning the sniper engagement. Steven still on the side right now, cloaks himself. Set up in position, you can see that Bastion spamming, looking for that Sombra. Where is Steven?
Trying to Sombra spot there.
Where's Steven is the lamer version of Where's Waldo.
That's true, yeah.
Also more frustrating.
Well, because he's actually invisible.
And he's trying to kill you too, so I guess it's more deadly.
It's a sinister, gritty version of Where's Waldo. It's like Where's Waldo combined with the Bourne Identity. Just basically kind of Where's Waldo. Ole on that turret mode on Bastion. Watt 7 down again already. Oh, but Ole gets taken out too. In the end, though, it is Brazil that comes out ahead in that fight. And Steven locked down, taken out.
They found Steven with a hook.
They did. Found Steven.
Only when you find Steven, he dies, so it's really depressing.
Yeah. They really should make like an action-packed spy thriller about Waldo. It's like he's a super spy, and everyone's like, "Where's Waldo?"
Well, you're in LA now. Now you can get your screenwriting career going.
Oh, you're right. That's
with
right.
your treatment of the gritty version of Where's Waldo.
I can make that screenplay to show everybody, just like everyone tries to show everybody else screenplay. Have I told you about the screenplay I'm working on? Now Liko nearly has that Dragon Strike. Would have liked to have it when Austria was in that hallway. There we go. Might still have him pinned down there. That's a lot of damage coming in. Gets Insonics right off the bat. A lot of damage to Watt 7 again. Might be easy to finish off. He is. And Brazil again rolling forward on attack. These guys looking just as good against Austria as they did against the USA.
Oh boy. Brazil won that with only using 1 ult 2. All they needed was the Dragon Strike. They baited Austria into the corridor, and that's when they hit them in that narrow choke point with the Hanzo ultimate while maintaining everything else they've got. This should be an easy point B.
Pretty much. We'll see if Austria even wants to try to contest it here. I think they'll go for one more fight. Yep, going in now, but Ole in a great spot here to try to do a lot of damage to that team, forcing them back into the corridor the best he can. His team trying to support him here. He's got that tank mode going in. This is what you use it for. It is the point B finishing ult. That's exactly what he's going to use it for. Meanwhile, Steven trapped in the back by the whole hog. Body block out of the door. And That's point B for Brazil.
Maybe didn't need to use all 5 ultimates there if you're Brazil.
You don't need to, no.
But they do efficiently cap the point, which leaves them with plenty of time, over 5 minutes now, to finish out Junkertown. Not going to be the end of the world for them. I think they got nervous because they saw the nano boosted Zarya and then really committed hard. Ole on the high ground now. This is interesting. He's in a great position. He actually got behind a lot of the members of Austria.
Oh yeah, this is odd. Now it's like Austria's the attacker and Brazil's the defense.
This is really weird.
Payload. Not seen a fight a lot like this on Junkertown. Has to be careful though. Dragon Strike coming in. Ole did take down Watt7 Sensatics. Meanwhile, nearly no help on the side of this fight, and Brazil just dominating Austria yet again.
Austria got played right there.
Yeah, they did.
They allowed them to set up with a crossfire on the high ground. That's when you see the Dragon Strike from Liko combined with the halt provided by Neil to pick up a lot of the damage onto the tanks needed to wipe the rest of the fight. Liko and get some free damage on the way to another Dragon Strike here by torturing Austria and their Choke Eclipse in a dangerous position.
Ole once again taking that high ground to try to rain down fire on top of Austria, who now has to fight 5v6. As you said, Ole, or rather Eclipse down for a little bit. Back up again. Austria trying to go for some creative flanks again. But I think they're finding themselves in a similar situation they were in before. Dragon Strike, is he going to use that after volley? We'll see. Might have a chance, feeling a bit of pressure, but now going in from behind. Can they respond? Sound barrier gets cut through almost immediately by that Hanzo ultimate. And now they're going to go ahead and give the nano boost over to Dudu. He's got the whole hog. He's pushing everybody on Austria back, and that pushes them right into the self-destruct. No kills from it, but again, it's about creating space right now. And that payload is nearly there with a lot of time on the clock.
There's a DMech, will force the self-destruct. That's going to delay or destroy the barrier, but here we go. Bastion's back, and he's in tank mode.
That's right, but he gets pinned. He's down. That tank was dealt with very quickly, but meanwhile, the rest of Brazil doing a pretty good job of eliminating Austria. And now it's just Mr. Dragonlaw trying to keep this payload from moving. They've got Steven in there too, but there's only so long you can last as a solo Brigida.
Yeah, that means they are going to have to retreat. This is the time to switch off some of these heroes. If you are Brazil, you'll notice Ole on the Lucio. And surprisingly, Liko is up at 35% of his team's damage, which when you consider Ole has spent all of this map so far playing Bastion is pretty darn impressive. That's how he's been getting so many of these Dragon Strikes.
I mean, I'd be curious to see what percentage of his Dragon or his damage has been Dragon Strikes, because he's had a lot of good ones. He's hit a lot of people, at least with it. That one, not so much. Kind of just tossed out there.
I mean, he has been getting a lot of kills, though, just not directly.
Yeah. All right, going in now. Neil has the nano boost, swinging the hammer away, takes down Sensatics after being DMech. It's a nano boost onto Watt7 as well on the Winston. Dudu and Elmo down. And that might be enough to push Brazil back. 1:58 on the clock right now.
It's only the tanks left. Diva and the Reinhardt on the Brazilian side.
Rough start to the defense on point C for Austria, but they've really kind of gotten it together now.
Yeah, they forced the comp switch, and that's the most important thing. Now it's completely swapped around. Alemo and Ole both flipping over to heroes they didn't start the game with.
Oh, okay. Yeah, Steven decided to go with the Pharah, too. They swapped Eclipse to the Mercy, so bringing in a new little combo to try to finish off the defense here. Mr. Dragonlaw getting low. He gets taken out by Liko. Brazil has the edge in the fight. Everyone just kind of ignoring the Pharah at the moment. That's an Earth Shatter. Could come up big if Neil decides to use it. We'll see. They've popped the Coalescence right now to keep the players on Brazil healthy. Neil just waiting.
Oh, Sensatic's not demeched, crucially.
Yeah, not yet anyway. But he's got to rejoin the fight. He doesn't have a lot of healing with some of his supports out of the way. There's the self-destruct coming in and went right through the Winston shield. The shield out of the way just in time for him to hit those people. And that should be about it. They can push Mini-Me back here and finish him off, and they do. So, Brazil gets the job done on attack here. A little bit of time left on the clock.
Yeah, under a minute remaining, so they will have less time than they posted against Team USA. 53 seconds, but still a completion. So Brazil taking all 3 points on 2 instances of Junkertown today. Austria now going to be going on the attack on a map that they looked pretty uncomfortable on at the start.
Yeah, I wonder what Austria's got in mind, rather, for Junkertown attack here. And again, the match is on the line. I mean, all Brazil needs to do is hold.
I do think that Austria's switches have been good. Like, they're trying to go ahead and play the Pharah and the Doomfist into the 3-3 composition. Every time they see that from Brazil, they know exactly what they're going to run, and that is helping them slow down this Brazilian team. And a good hold on point C means that, you know, it's within the realm of possibility they can push this into time bank.
Yeah, for sure. Well, I've enjoyed this match in general because it seems like both teams have been really willing to change things up on the fly and haven't kind of gotten stuck in their compositions. And, you know, you kind of think of how teams come into this with maybe a little bit less preparation for these matches than we would see in the Overwatch League, of course. So the plans going into the games might be a little bit less firmed up than we're used to seeing in OWL, and that honestly kind of leaves room for a little bit more flexibility from time to time.
Well, also, it's, you know, it's pretty fun to watch these matches. They may not be as disciplined, but they do have plenty of flash a lot of the time.
Sometimes that makes it fun, you know? Sometimes messy is better when it comes to esports.
So here we go. Brazil, once again, they want to play as aggressively as possible at this spawn point. Steven intimating that he wants to play the Bastion to start things off.
Don't you hate it when people crowd the DJ booth? You don't need your selfie. Just let the guy do his thing.
And don't make requests on a DJ, please.
Yeah.
Don't do that.
Play Sandstorm.
Don't.
Unless it's Sandstorm.
Don't be that person.
Now the payload now starts moving here, and they're waiting. They're like, okay, we know they're lurking nearby. And they might just wait for this payload to move to the point where the Bastion is going to have to run a long way and not going to get that sightline from the high ground.
Yeah, Brazil made a modification, though, because they saw America do this earlier on today, and so this time they're not playing quite as aggressively, and they're using the cover of the corner to avoid that Bastion and still have a presence. So they're forcing the Bastion to move. Just a little bit slowed down. They can run on the Bastion right now. They're going to speed boost around.
I was going to say, yeah, here's the time when you jump out of that Bastion, but the charge comes through for Watt 7, and whoa, Neil right off the edge. Whoops, missed that one. Luckily, Dudu sent Watt 7 to join him, but that's not going to stop the payload from moving just yet.
No, it's not, and they've looped all the way around now. They continue to pick up the eliminations with Mr. Dragon and Steven falling. Looks like Brazil is going to be able to hold this one out. Honorado demeched for the next engagement. Neil back with his teammates.
Neil, why'd you charge off the edge, Neil? Again, Dudu, kind of the savior there. Charge comes through, and oh, bye. There we go.
I mean, he took Watt 7 with him, really.
Sure. He got bounced around enough that Dudu was able to send him off, but oh, fast rally, actually.
Wow, that's a huge nade.
Yeah, no kidding. Good thing they had the armor there. Otherwise, Austria might have been able to do some real damage with it. That said, Brazil back in the fight again. And now the Bastion, a lot of trouble. Steven dropping in Arisa. It's a bad day to be a robot on Junkertown. Kind of a bad day to be a robot in Overwatch in general.
Yeah, I don't think anybody really wants to be an Omnic in the world that we're sort of presented, do they?
I think Zenyatta's fine with it, but he's also, you know, very at peace with things.
Yes, he's reached a state of transcendence. So, yeah, I don't think that's really a fair look at the state of being Omnic in the world of Overwatch.
Peace with his circuitry. Ooh, the grab gets 2 tanks, and they finish him off. Yeah, there's one. And that's going to be Brazil already coming in and taking up the backbone of Austria's attack. Take a nap, Liko. You've earned it.
Nothing like having a large German man in armor fall on your face while you're taking a nap.
Not fun. Very uncomfortable. In fact, oh, Mini-Me dropped before he can get back to the safety of his team, and Austria having a really tough time even getting out of spawn.
Yeah, they switched off the Bastion some time ago, trying again to use the Doomfist now alongside the Pharah to get the necessary pick to open up this engagement, but there's so much room in these buildings they can move into. The Pharah's not really much of a threat. They're playing around the sight lines well, and Ole, that's going to be brutal. Mr. Dragon is on the payload right now, moving it.
Yeah, he's definitely moving the payload. Now, he's been found out. He's off of it for the moment. Neil waiting for a chance to use that Earth Shatter. A little bit of damage with the Fire Strike coming in. Watt 7 low again, and Mr. Dragonlaw has already gone down. Self-destruct used now by Sensatics, but no kills out of that one. Brazil's done a good job of being really evasive on this defense.
Well, and also back-capping with a Doomfist when the enemy team has a Lucio, it can move like 4 people back there super fast.
Yep.
Maybe not the best plan.
You gotta fight now. Coming out, trying to stop that payload. Mr. Dragonlaw taking a little bit of damage early. Didn't get the shields, he has to back away. Meanwhile, Neil has the extra armor from the rally. Brazil's been doing a good job of using that. Oh, meanwhile, a lot of people laid low, but the response, the Earth Shatter from Neil, works out really well. That's a lot of damage. Meteor Strike comes in though, gets nothing. Ooh, did he get the knockoff? Not quite. Not yet. Neil stays on, but he's getting low. That shield's not going to last too much longer. Self-destruct doesn't catch anybody, but it doesn't matter because Brazil has been holding, and Austria down to no time left on the clock. They can't get there, and that will be Brazil winning it in map 4.
Taking 2 wins today, including that big map win against America, and now the match win on Junkertown versus Austria.
Yep.
Brazil will tie themselves up 2-2 now in this group stage here at the Overwatch World Cup Los Angeles stop.
Yeah. Hey, at the end of the day, you dropped that match to America, but you took a map win. You come back, you win a big one over Austria. So, you know, they're not eliminated yet.
They're not, but they have to hope that Canada or USA are going to lose 2 of their last matches, and also that Brazil will win against Switzerland, and then they're going to have a preferential map differential. So there's a lot of things that have to fall exactly in the right order for Brazil, but they're not out of it.
So you're saying there's a chance?
There is a chance.
All right, well, there you go. Team Brazil, still a chance to go to BlizzCon, and at least definitely going to be able to leave with their heads held high there. We've got Puckett getting ready for an interview with Dudu down on the stage floor.
Thank you so much, fellas. That's right, I'm here with Dudu. Give it up one more time for Brazil. You've been so fun to watch. Your team has been so fun to watch even before the games began. All of the casters got a chance to sit down with you guys on Thursday before the series, and you said your goal was to see just how you compare to some of the top dogs in Overwatch. How do you feel the team is playing right now? How would you give yourself a scale on a 1 to 10?
Oh, this has been a great World Cup for us. I mean, compared to last year especially. When we came here with a different mindset, we're just gonna play, have fun, see what we can do, and it paid out. I mean, everything's going great.
It seems to be going great, and this composition that you guys have found seems to be working very well on Junkertown. A whole lot of tanks, a whole lot of heals. How do you feel about the GOATS comp right now, and what is your role on the team?
I mean, GOATS is kind of brain dead, so I don't know. There isn't much I can say. I just can't die. If I die, things go south. So since I'm a brick, whenever I'm out of position, I just die. So I don't know what.
I know how that works, but we saw you getting a whole lot of kills there. It was like a 10 streak, I believe, on stream. Let's close this one out with what is next here for your team. BHG, you guys were dominant, or Brazil Gaming House, excuse me, I had that backwards. You guys were dominant back home in Brazil. You guys are in North America right now. I know you've been scrimming a lot of teams online. What can we expect from Brazil in the future?
Well, I never seen a team in Mauricio Norato lose, so that's the plan. Just keep playing as much as we can. We're gonna try to scream a few more here. So get back to Brazil, keep winning contenders. That's it.
Every year, you guys are looking better and better. You're looking great tonight. One more time, give it up for Brazil as we send it back to the casters. Take it away, Monty and Doa.
Thanks, Puckett. Great interview with Dudu there. And yeah, I mean, it is true. These guys look way better than they did last year. And you can definitely see the more calm mindset coming into it.
For sure.
Having a pretty big impact, huh?
Yeah, and speaking of never seeing Mauricio Honorato lose, I didn't even see him die on that last map. In fact, he didn't die at all on Junkertown. He went 36 limbs, 11 final blows, 0 deaths.
That's amazing. For a diva to not die on Junkertown, I know there was no extra rounds there, but still, that's pretty incredible.
Yeah, Liko only died once too, so we were looking at 65 limbs to 13. I mean, that's a good round there to have for.
Not a bad end of the match, definitely.
Yeah.
Well, let's take a look at some of the best moments from that match. Of course, we started things out on Ilios, and it was a little bit rough for Brazil in the beginning. They had to win this one 2-1, but Liko certainly there pretty often with the Zarya.
Yeah, indeed. And like you said, it was pretty close here on the first match, especially with Austria, you know, tying things up here on Weld, looking pretty darn good while doing it. But it was really, you know, the one slip up, big slip up we saw from Brazil was obviously on the map of Austria's selection. They looked uncomfortable on Hanamura, but, you know, for the most part, Brazil, I think, playing as expected. We had some questions coming in. Who was going to be the better team? Was it going to be Norway, Brazil? Obviously, that went right down to the wire in a 5-map series last night to finish things off. But Brazil, you know, they've got probably one of the weaker teams in this group to look forward to tomorrow in Switzerland. If they can end with a positive record, that 3-2, if they can end in 3rd place in this group, I think that's a really big success for this team.
Yeah, I think it's certainly possible too. And And again, you know, you look beyond the World Cup, right? You look at these guys and potentially Overwatch League teams that are, you know, looking for people. We just announced that there's going to be a ton more teams next year. So that's going to be a lot of roster spots that need filling. And I think these are the type of players you maybe want to take a closer look at.
Absolutely. Yep. And especially like a lot of these players here right now. So, you know, while they're in Los Angeles, time to scrim with some of these other teams, especially the academy teams or the contenders teams that are working and operating at the moment, up until last night at least, when the contenders finals finished for North America.
Yep, that's right. Well, it's like Dudu said too. You know, you're going to come in, learn as much as you can, scrim as much as you can, and go back and keep dominating contenders in South America. Yeah, that's kind of what they've been doing.
And speaking of dominance, it was all Brazil.
Really was, yeah.
On Junkertown, Liko with a sneaky grab around the side, just focusing on those tanks, make sure those get eliminated first and they can't actually move up onto the payload.
Yep, sure enough. This was the map that ended up pushing Brazil over the top and giving them that 3-1 victory. So an exciting match to end the day with, and yeah, cool stuff. I really enjoy World Cup because, again, you know, the games are a little bit messier. It's a bit crazier because you got a lot of people coming from different teams and a lot of different occasions, and the communication isn't quite there, but we do get a lot of exciting games.
Yeah, it's also fun. You know, we get to see a lot of these guys year after year.
Yeah, we're starting to get to know some of
representing
these
their
guys
team, so it's always a pleasure.
Yeah, well, let's take a look at today's results overall. It was an exciting day of Overwatch. Of course, we saw Austria coming out over the top of Switzerland to begin with, USA taking the 3-1 over Brazil. Then it was Canada, 4-0 over Norway. USA comes back for a 4-0 over themselves over Switzerland. And then we just saw it just now, Brazil with the 3-1 win over Austria, and that is the World Cup Day 2. Now, that puts our standings overall. Crucially, Brazil 2-2, still at -3, but a chance to enter the positive record. Obviously, Canada and the US both 3-0 in this tournament, way ahead. But if today goes crazy, if there are enormous upsets, if Canada or the US lose both of their games and Brazil wins theirs, maybe Brazil can sneak through.
Yeah, they would also have to lose by a fairly large BAP score margin.
Need to be a big point spread.
And also Brazil would have to win by a pretty large margin tomorrow. I mean, this is looking pretty unlikely to happen.
So you're telling me there's a chance?
Well, I mean, we'll see what happens tomorrow, but that does seem unlikely. USA and Canada, I think that's what everybody's looking forward to tomorrow night. A lot of these teams, both USA and Canada, have been saying, oh yeah, we're saving our strats. Maybe they haven't been playing the most seriously so far. And by maybe, I mean definitely.
Well, for sure. And I mean, it really, I mean, Canada, Switzerland, and Norway, USA, those are the big ones because we know either Canada or US are going to take a loss tomorrow because they play each other for the very last map of the series, very last match of the series, rather. So if Canada or the US drop either of those ones earlier in the day, that's going to be a lot of pressure on that team in that last match. It's kind of cool that that one ended up at the end. That'll be pretty exciting either way.
I think that was probably intentional.
You wonder. I wonder how did that happen? That's so cool that it ended up that way. Who knows?
Should be a thrilling way to end, though, and see who's going to get that first place seed.
It should. It's been a fun weekend here at the Blizzard Esports Arena in Burbank, California. We're not done yet. One more day to go in the World Cup stage here. We'll see you tomorrow morning, bright and early, 10 a.m. See you then.